Thank you, Jeff. And I would take the pleasure. The time really, I hope you can all see my screen, right?
Yes.
Can you all see my screen? Okay. Yeah, let's start uh, with a little small presentation. And, my name is Gopal Krishnamurthy, founder and CEO of Vimal and Inforiver. And as an organization, we have been building BI add-on solutions for last 12 years. And probably, I think we are probably the largest player in the add-on solution space in the world. If you even put together everybody else across all platforms, we still would be big because we have close to 175 full-time employees working just on this. And I have a wonderful connection with Wellington. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this session. And when we actually came to Power BI about 4 years back, Phil, out of nowhere, reached out to me saying he wants to try the Gantt chart. And again, I shared a copy with Phil, and then obviously I friended Jeff and Mem because of some of the things. I wouldn't call it crazy ideas, but more complex ideas. And we as a business have been solving complex things for the last 12 years, and it has been a pursuit. But I would tell you it has not been easy. So the matrix, actually, the Inforiver matrix was symbolically launched with the Wellington. The first unveiling actually happened. So when we actually go about doing the charts, I really wanted to kick off the Inforiver charts with your meetup. So it has been quite a bit of a connection with the Wellington team here. And what we have evolved the company, that's something that you would actually, when I present, you would see is what we are actually building is a business productivity suite for data, very specific to data analytics and visualization. And the Inforiver matrix has, I would say, pretty much replicated a lot of the Excel-like user experience, Excel-like productivity right inside Power BI. And now we are going to be showing you how would it feel like if the PowerPoint-like storytelling annotation was available right in Power BI. That's what we will do today. Now, obviously, our Gantt chart is there for project management, project visualization. And we are putting in a lot of effort on Valq right now to actually bring in planning and forecasting. One of the things that my passion or the vision that I wanted to share that I've been working towards is that if I look at the industry for the last 40, 50 years, I've spent my entire career in data and analytics, is the industry came out with standard reports, operational reports. Then the customer wanted the ad hoc self-service reports. Then they wanted drill down analysis and visualization. That's the era of ClickView, Spotfire, and Tableau. Then Power BI came. But for statistical analysis, you still use SAS and SPSS. And for planning and forecasting, you use BPC or Hyperion or Anaplan. And for AI/ML, obviously, you use another set of tools. So what has happened is the industry, or I don't know, maybe the word greed is somewhat of a pretty crude way to put it. The industry introduced a brand new tool, but completely ignored the fundamental part of data and analytics. So you want to do, you go to another tool, you go to another tool, you go to another tool. The journey of the data is broken by the vendors, by the organization, because you have a data set, you can't tell a continuous story with it. It's broken just because the tool set that you have to do to a little more advanced function is broken. So what we are pursuing is how do you provide a seamless experience where the journey of the data, whether you want to do a paginated report to whether you want to do a nice visualization or whether you want to explore the data or whether you want to do a storytelling or whether you want to enter your budgets, forecast, and save it and then consume it back for other visualization. Today, you can't do that in the industry, which is the journey that we are pursuing. by integrating our Inforiver matrix, the Inforiver charts that I'm going to be showing, and the val cube, and I would be that's the journey that we are pursuing. Now, the charts vision was a lot more ambitious, mainly because when we really looked at the charting engines, it doesn't matter whether you look at Tableau or Power BI, it doesn't matter. They were all what I call as a single measure visualization, basically. And if you look at all the tools very closely, the moment you want to compare any two measures, or even you want to do a dual axis chart, you have to really script it. It's not available out of this box. So that's why nobody offers you bullet chart. Bullet chart is the only multi-measure visualization where you can do integrated comparisons, but it doesn't available, mainly because the foundational JavaScript is not a multi-measure. And so we decided we have to build a JavaScript library from the ground up to be able to do, because when we really look at organization, why does finance and accounting don't use visualization? They only use spreadsheets. They only use Excel. Is because they are fundamentally comparing actuals to prior year or actuals to my budget or forecast. It's always a multi-way comparisons. That is what is happening. And since visualization doesn't support, they just revert back to Excel and do the pivot analysis and do the formulas to do. And there is no standards, and especially finance and accounting, they want to look at everything the same way every time, even if this concept of standards is slowly taking, because the last decade is all about making beautiful dashboards and telling beautiful stories. I think more functionally, organizations are trying to say best practices standards, and IBCS was the only best standards that was really out there in a documented form. And storytelling, mainly because has become extremely prevalent post-COVID, because more and more workers no longer work in the office place. So you share a dashboard, it has to tell a story, because you are not going to go tap on the shoulder and explain what is happening. So storytelling has really become very, very prominent. The other very important thing is we consume a lot on mobiles, and now it is evolving more to wearables. So if you look at our current visualization and put it in a small screen, it doesn't matter what tool. I don't want to knock on Power BI, it doesn't matter. You put it in a very smallest form factor, and you would see the data to ink ratio, the amount of information it tries to combine is fundamentally very, very weak. And last but not the least, there are some tools that actually delivered 10 years, 15 years back, take ClickView or Spotfire. They gave what is called as a true contextual drill down. And we felt, Tableau is very weak in drill down, and Power BI obviously gives you drill down, but it doesn't give you an exploratory contextual drill down. So we wanted to, because we saw a lot of customers struggle to completely migrate to Power BI. So we said the visualization engine and library we built from the ground up has to solve these major futuristic items. So that's basically what I will be demonstrating. Then what is the point if it does for only one chart? Because that is the other challenge we had, is when we started about 4 years back, the first version we saw, we could do 5 charts. But you can't go to market with 5. Then you won't believe me how many times we refactored and we re-engineered, we re-architected. Today, we have a solid foundation, the ready to go to market, where we can actually pretty much do most of the chart types, because that's very, very important. And we wanted to do it from a single user experience, because one of the flaw of the current charting implementation is every chart type, it expects the person to know visualization, the person to know best practices, because every chart type, the way you use it, the properties is different. So we wanted to unify it. It's as part of the standardization user experience. And I will touch on it, and then I will go about the demos. Jeff, you were heard by us primarily because we took a lot of your idea place items and we tried to invest into it. And that is something that we will be showing today, because while they are very complex engineering wise, because we were building it up ground up, we want to make, because they all had, what do you call, a method to the madness, why it is needed, why it is very, very important. But they were very, very complex from an engineering standpoint to implement. So it's obviously, it's fair for you to expect that the core Power BI team does it. It's a monumental effort to go and re-engineer, because they have already poured the foundation. So it's pretty hard unless they decide to completely overhaul the engineering. But as a partner, we feel we have to deliver, because the partner is supposed to deliver all the advanced use cases and the edge use cases where the core of the Power BI stays intact. Now, I don't know if I will have the time, but I will also show on the matrix, we also are giving a lot of in-cell visualization, because one of the things is the flaw of Excel is, hey, everybody is looking at a tabular data, but we said we have to give, what if that the table also had the numbers and then had the appropriate, so all the horizontal chart types we looked at. So all the comparative chart types, a lot of the new chart types we introduced in the matrix are like arrow plot, because they are very useful for dot plot, arrow plot, very useful for storytelling. We actually introduced to the matrix as well. So that said, I will jump to the Power BI and let's get going the concepts of what I would like to show. I'm thinking everybody can see Power BI. So if you see, so this is our value, this is our matrix, this is our charts, and this is our Gantt chart. So our vision is basically, I have no, it's not a secret. We want to take over the visualization pane. That's basically the vision to which we are working. And so I basically dropped the Inforiver chart visual here. And I'm not going to do anything. And I'm going to take another Power BI visual here. Let's put it side by side for us to maybe, let's give it a little bit of and let's explain. So let's say I want to have a simple product and I want to do my simple measure. This is your out of the box Power BI. And I want to do the same thing. I want to put the same measure and I want to do the same actual. And what are some of the things out of the box that you would see? And let's, for fairness, let's just come here and you can see we have a nice toolbar user experience, just like we did with the matrix. But the most important thing is the axis, the max, the min, the average comes out of the box. Now you have dynamic deviation with our product, where if I wanted to see the max to min, I could do it on the fly. So this is something, these are the common actions a lot of users were doing. So we wanted to give it out of the box, because you want to know what the average is, how many are doing out of the box. You want to see the difference between the two bars, you can do that. But that's not it. What if you want to compare to my plan? In Power BI, I can only drop it here, and it doesn't know what to do with it. So this is a fundamental problem with all the visualization libraries. The moment you want to compare to something, or you want to do a dual axis, or you want to non-comparative measure sales, and it's very hard. Now, you may say, hey, you should have used a different chart type. Absolutely. But it's a little bit of a kind of a tax on the brain to know which chart type to use. Now, you could take our chart and you could actually assign the plan. And right off the bat, you get the integrated variance. Now, the value is not just in the integrated variance. It's very, very easy for us to switch to any chart type. So that is something that I was mentioning, is we wanted to make it somewhat end user friendly, very easy to switch to any of the chart types. Let's say I want to change it to a waterfall chart. You can do it. You can actually do a lot of the things that you would like to do, you can do. Now, you can see everything has a canvas editing you can actually do. And you can actually change it to a horizontal or vertical, single click. You can do a lot of that. Let me just move this a little bit here and give it a little bit so you can actually see what I'm trying to do.
I love intelligent formatting of the access labels for starters, and it was just interesting to me. So, you know, with the Power BI native one, we get 0.2 billion, and the first thing a user does is they go, "What is that? What is 0.2 billion? What is a billion again? Is it 1,000 million? Is it a million?" Whereas, you know, just to have the auto formatting. But I just saw you do something really cool before, where your auto formatting actually had a million, and then it went to billion when it needed to. So that's very cool. I like it.
Yeah, so we
give you some positive feedback from the get-go, mate.
Yeah, no, thank you. So one of the things that I want you to notice is we invested in the number formatting. So you can say, I want uniform scaling. And you can actually change it to thousands if you wanted to. So it's all built into the product. Basically, we have it built in. The number formatting engine is one of our big USPs. The second one, all the Power BI features work. But the next step of the thing, what do customers want is, hey, I want to really break it down by region. And this is my choice I have. I have to come and I have to put it into the small multiples. This is what you get out of the box. Now, I want to do the same thing here. I put it to the group. And you can see the information density that we are talking about and the readability of the information. So this is something that we worked very hard to achieve. Everything you can turn it into a small multiple. So now I can come here and I can actually change it to any of the chart types. You have access to stacked chart types as well. You can actually go to a lot of them. We try to organize them more logically with very combo charts. You can actually do this as well. Obviously, you can actually format it. You can actually do all of that fully responsive. All of those capabilities are there. But the most important thing is what we wanted to highlight is the concept of multi-measure visualization. Now, obviously, after that I have showed you, I want to take this out and I want to really go and give a little deeper dive on a full canvas because it's very important where we wanted to take the industry to the next level, really go to the multi-dimensional visualization, exploratory analysis, annotations, and all that. So one of the obvious thing is you want to basically take, say, time dimension and you want to place it here. Again, you can notice, so you have x-axis, you have y-axis, and you have z-axis. Now, the beauty of this is we have a full-blown storytelling and annotation engine built into the product. So you can actually take an annotation and I can actually write a story. You can obviously move it. You can rotate it. You can actually do it. And I want to do a story and I can actually say juices and I am on EMEA and I can actually do a data point annotation and I'm on Q2. Just bear with me. Even I'm trying to figure out how to, because it's a little bit rough on the edges. And okay, I think I probably will skip it, but you can actually do a data point annotation and you can actually edit. You can actually move this around. And I will actually show some of the dashboards we have built. Now I could come here and I can actually do another annotation. You can actually do another annotation. Now, the most important one is, if you notice Q1, Q2, Q3, I have a scroll bar here. And you can only see the 2 dimensions, but we allow you to export to PDF, PNG. So what we are proposing to the market is use this as your PowerPoint of data, and you can actually share your stories this way. Now, you can also embed with the new feature, the PowerPoint integration, where you don't have to do all this annotation, the data point annotations in PowerPoint. Instead, you would do it right in Power BI. So one of the things you will appreciate is the quality of the export. So this is something pretty huge. in the industry that we are able to actually export what you can see. So you are able to have the cross section of the dimensions you are able to do. Now, you can obviously, so there is a lot available here. When I come here, you can actually move this around. You can actually, we are going to go to settings, and you have the ability to change all the annotation types available here.
So just to reiterate that export, the beauty of that is that it almost turns it from a canvas with a scroll bar into almost like some kind of paginated report thing, right? It's as long as
there is a caveat to it. You can actually do something within the frame, iframe. So it's one iframe. It's not something outside the iframe. So what I would like to do is, I want to show you a lot of the stories that we have actually built with the product, because it makes sense to show and build the excitement. And okay, I was going to come to this last, but let's come over to show you some of the pre-built, because I'm not as good as my team to actually build it very fast. So the small multiple trellis I showed you, so we have actually built the small multiple, and then we have what is called as analytics. Analytics is your reference bands. So our product has reference bands, which we did. So you are seeing a reference band here. And then we have used the annotations that I showed you because the annotations, you can actually format it. So this is how you actually tell a story. And you can actually, then obviously you can export to PDF if you wanted to. Now, these are some of the most popular stories. We noticed a lot of the newspapers and the journalists, and they don't use like a Tableau or Power BI. They use like Adobe Photoshop or like PowerPoint. They actually custom make a lot of these stories. So that's why we saw an opportunity to do live connected data. So one of the beauty of it is this could be connected to a Power BI data set, and you could actually build these stories. Because a lot of the other tools like Data Wrapper, they are more like not live connected data. They download the data and they prepare these stories. So that's why we saw there was a huge opportunity to do. Now, obviously, with the multi-measure, we can say, hey, this time period is forecast. You can put a band and highlight, hey, this is, so various points you can actually highlight and tell a story. And the same concept, the reference band, you are able to rotate it to be able to create the highlights. This is one of my favorites. Pretty basic conditional formatting. Use the bars to conditionally format and tell a story with the text. Same thing. Using annotations and reference bands, we are doing it. We are giving you a stacked waterfall to be able to highlight various points. It's just to show you the different types of chart types we have. This is a stacked chart where we are able to actually give you a story around the regions. Same thing, a little bit of a measure-driven data label, but the true one will be coming. So this is something I'm very pleased with. What do you think, Jeff?
It's great. It's very clean and tidy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that we did it in Power BI, right?
It's gone out, I'm still collecting cassettes. I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball.
So this is your measure-driven data label. I'm going to go back to the product and I can show you how it is done. It's literally no code, basically. And this is something we worked very hard to achieve, and we have been able to do it in a pretty simplistic manner. You just assign the data, you assign, and you are able to do the measure-driven data labels. And I will go back and actually show you how it is done. The same measure-driven table, we just wanted to show you with the line colors and something. It's pretty pleased that we are able to deliver what has been a long unmet idea place item. So I will come back here and I will actually go back to the product, because I want to show a lot of different cool things that are very, very important for everyone here. And so when I walk through, because I will maybe make it a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit bigger, and category. And so, Jeff, the way the product on this one, I didn't actually, I assigned only a single measure, but I can come here. When I come to the line chart, so we have a line type just specifically. So we can actually do, this is how the measure driven data label would be done. You would assign, and so you can actually do the, you get, so you have the highlighting that you would also want, and then you would do the annotation. So we created a separate section for data labels. So here you would
show me that highlighting again, because this is one of my pet peeves of the native visuals. Just the fact that you can do that. I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, so we basically took the data label and we broke it down into a separate display section. So you can actually say what data label you want to really do. You could even do all data points if you wanted to. So a lot of those things we thought through, we are able to implement. The same thing on the appearance is we are giving a lot of themes to our customers. It would make sense to actually demonstrate with a different chart. So if I come down and I put a plan, so you see the integrated variants. The theme is something we invested heavily in. What we did is we basically took IBCS theme, which everybody is familiar with. And the biggest, when we went to the market, we asked a lot of customers around. The IBCS, a lot of them felt it was, while it was a great standard, it was very, very rigid. And everybody in the last 15 years is used to seeing an axis. IBCS has no concept of axis, has no concept of legend. So we created a modified version of IBCS called Inforiver theme. And we created our own set of best practices. So you see the y-axis now here. And we did that. And we also felt a Power BI customer is going to feel, hey, it doesn't feel like Power BI. So we created a Power BI theme. So it's very easy to make the dashboard look like a Power BI theme. And it would be available in our launch wizard when we launch our product, where you can actually say, hey, I want it to look like Power BI. So you can choose the theme as upfront, and you are able to customize quite a bit of this. The small multiple is one place where we heavily invested. Let's say I have this. Now I come down here and you see that the small multiple trellis. This is one area where we felt a lot of customers really like the power of it, but they want to do more with it. And one of the things is scaled row is each row is scaled according to the thing. But what if you wanted to do ranked panels? And hey, I have only 6. I want to make it into 6 columns. This is one of my favorites. So because in BI, you are always ranking, you are always trending, you are always doing this. So this is the ease of use we are talking. An end user can actually bring the data. Now, I want to say top N, and I want to say, hey, give me only my top 3 regions, put everything else as others. That's this easy.
Cool.
No DAX completely. So the trellis is one area where we have invested quite a bit to be able to do a lot of the capabilities a lot of the customers have asked, and very, very proud. Now the grid is something you would do. It's a pretty uniform scaling. Now the place where we have heavily invested is freezing the x-axis, freezing the y-axis. So like, for example, the y-axis frozen left and right column. I actually love it. So you could see you get 2 y-axis. So it just gives you better readability if you really would like. So I think I touched on the deviation. I think I touched on the reference line, reference bands. You could even do a Pareto if you wanted to. You can see all of them are built in here. So the end, it's built more from an end user perspective. The IT builds good data sets. The end users can actually self-serve themselves. That's the concept to which a lot of these are built. Coming back, I do have a few more things I wanted to basically show the conditional formatting you have. IBCS does not recommend using conditional formatting, mainly because they don't want you to use colors unnecessarily. So what we thought was, how do you bring more users to IBCS? That's where we created alternative themes, but still use a lot of the best practices and give where you want to call out, because you can't, without conditional formatting, it's very hard to do the storytelling. So we introduced the conditional formatting engine we had to be able to do that. So we provide pretty robust sorting capability, because a lot of the users were frustrated with the ability to do sorting the way they wanted to do. That is something that we did quite a bit. Now, what I would like to show you is the next one, which is the exploratory analysis, which is something that we are able to achieve. I'm very proud of. I don't know how we pulled it off, but you know, I can keep a second measure always. So let's say, no, let's just take actuals and plan, no year. And this is something that is pretty groundbreaking in the sense that it brings more of a exploratory analysis. So the way the Power BI drill down works is it's like one level at a time, the way one level at a time. But if you are really coming from SAP or like Click, you are more familiar with an associative or a contextual drill down. So we wanted to bring that user experience into Power BI customer base. So let's say I have all my area of analysis, I have dropped into my wells, I have it. So let's say I wanted to simply, I have for which each of the bars, I could actually click on users and it could take me to the regions basically. So the user experience is a lot different. Now, I'm here, obviously, since I have more dimensions, I can keep going, or I could actually come back here and you see this at a canvas level, I give you a small multiple. So what we are leveraging is our small multiple library to be able to grow, ask an exploratory question. Now you can obviously, keep asking, I'm in EMEA, I'm in SODA, you can keep doing this basically. So you can go within the year, you can actually keep going and you have the context basically. So you can actually annotate and get a PDF right out of the here. So basically the concept is a true contextual drill down. So I can go to Q3 and within the months within that will come automatically. So the concept of building a dashboard, you click here, you look here. So you are maintaining your focus and you are able to navigate up and down the hierarchy is the concept that we wanted to introduce. And we are able to build this user experience successfully.
So now, I really love this ability to go from the total view to the small multiple. So that's something I've done before with a lot of DAX and some data modeling. Well, not a lot of DAX, not a lot of data modeling, but a lot of DAX and data modeling to somebody that doesn't know how to do it. So it's really, really cool, because sometimes when you've got your small multiples and you go, that's great, but how does the total look? And without, you know, using, I mean, you can use DAX or you can use bookmarks, but it's nice to have it baked in. I salute you, sir. This is great.
No, thank you. So our vision is on June 1st. Obviously, you are a day and a half ahead. We actually have a public, so you actually have a preview. And on June 1st, we are actually doing an official launch where it will be available for public beta. So the matrix, we were on a private beta for a long time before we actually came out public. This time we are taking, because as an organization, we are very mature in terms of visualization. What do customers want? So we feel very good about our product is we are doing a public beta on June 1st. So everybody gets access on June 1st. And we are even launching a storytelling contest basically on June 1st to build the art of the possible with the Inforiver charts. We want to bring the concept of storytelling to Power BI, and it will officially go GA on July 20th, basically. So we are basically give it 30 to 45 days to collect a lot of customer feedback and initial prospect feedback. But it's ready for prime time because it's it's been years in the making, and we feel this should at least stop people saying Power BI is weak in the visualization. And I haven't looked at the question. One of the things that we are doing, we are fortunate enough as a company, this is going to be our contribution to the entire visualization industry. So we have made a major decision to give it as low as possible in terms of pricing, because one of the things that I wanted to share is the charts is going to be $2 per user, and they are getting 40 plus charts, and for more than 100 users, it's going to be only $1.50, and they can buy it separately from the matrix. We are unbundling it because for all the visualization fans, they can actually go and consume the charts because that's seen as a core gap of Power BI. Now, right now we are almost there, and I think by September we are only missing the single message charts. Right now we are missing the funnel, the pie donut, the tree map, and the gauge. We will be delivering the KPIs as well, like advanced KPI cards as well, integrated into it. It will be available when we go GA. But our thought process is that you basically pay a small fee, because if you look at Tableau is $12 for viewers only. So we want to keep the pricing. Nobody actually have to feel, because we have to at least make enough to support that. So that this is one of the big contribution to the industry to change the perspective of visualization and do that. The other thing that I couldn't really demonstrate is in a small form factor. I want you to see one of the problem. I want to compare to my prior year to the plan. With our product, customers are able to clearly see, very clearly they can see, hey, we did better on last year, but on plan, we missed juices and soda. So you see, even at a 3-measure comparison, we are able to bring in the readability that the customers really need. So this, I think, should bring a lot of finance and accounting folks to actually use visualization tools, because this is one of the reasons when we observe, everybody goes back to Excel is because they're always comparing something. Now, let me also show something cool. Let's say I take all of this out and let me put a non-comparative measure, because I want to actually say, let's take a region and let's take sales and let's put profit. It knows it's a non-comparative measure and it does a dual axis chart automatically. Now,
cool.
Imagine we could do dual axis on a small multiple as well. No script, nothing.
Just works.
Yeah. So I think I want to pause here, and I've not been able to look at the questions, so I'm sure there are a lot of questions. So I want to make sure I can actually do. I'm sorry. Yes. So all of I apologize. I'm going back. I'm sure there is a lot of questions. So if there are some interesting ones, please.
But one of them was people asking, did they have to do anything special to prepare the data?
No, it's just any Power BI data set. It's not anything special. You just take any data set and you just go about it, basically. Now, the important decision we have made is we are splitting the matrix. And so for any customer that has already purchased Inforiver, we will grandfather them and we will give them both the matrix and the charts for today. But what we felt from the customer feedback was they felt the rather than bundling, if I separate it out, they could start with charts first, or they could start with matrix. They could always come back. So one of the other things we are actually doing is on the matrix also, we are changing the pricing on, it'll be announced on June 1st. And it makes sense to show the standard edition of Inforiver matrix would only be $1 basically. And you get all the chart types with the standard edition. The premium edition is going to be only $3 per user per month for 100 users. Now, what does that do? If you really come back to the matrix, and because this is something that has gone a long way since you all last saw. So let's say I have my region, and let's say I have my actual, and I have my plan, and I put my time period here. And one of the things you would notice is I could come here and I have access to all my chart types. It knows it is IBCS, it is a plan. Jeff, do you see what is this?
Well, I'm enjoying the fact that we've got data bars that aren't overlapping the numbers. So if that's what you mean, I'm very thrilled with that.
Yeah. So this is one of those Jeff's requests. So we added this feature, and just like Tableau, you have the reference line, reference band. So you can actually draw an average line. So that is there. Now, the most important thing is you have all the bar charts, you have the lollipop charts, you have the waterfall charts available, but that's not it. If you really wanted to do a comparison, you get all the comparative chart types in single click. So you can actually do stack chart, stack percentage chart. So these are some of the new charts, dumbbell charts, the range plots, the arrow plot, all of this. Now, in our standard edition, this is all included. So think about it. We are really trying to push the world of visualization more, and you can actually even come here and you can do the spark lines. So one of the spark line is a baseline spark line, which is not a lot of you, but it is the most useful one. So you are able to add a baseline. You can actually say, hey, this is my average. You can actually do, and it will do, and then above and below, no script, no DAX. And you can actually say hide all the children. So you can actually see you have taken a 12-month trend. You are able to show the comparison in a single click. So even
that one, Gopal, that they're all scaled so you can make direct comparisons. Is it the? I mean, I love the look of it.
You see the scaling. You are given all the options. You choose what you want. You want by level, by
fantastic. Yeah.
So you have the null.
How is it that you guys can do this and yet the mothership can't? That's what I want to know.
So first of all, we are doing this for 12 years, first of all. And back when we were in SAP days, right, we would only do what SAP can't do. So SAP will tell, hey, this is too complex. This is not a core use case. We have a partner that will do it. So we are constantly challenged to do this. And so we had a lot of know-how on what do customers ask for. Now, obviously at our size, let's say give or take, our engineering team, my overall organization is, well over 150 employees. The size and scale, obviously I'm not purview to how big the Power BI, core Power BI, but Power BI does a lot of platform features. So, right, for example, if you expect this, you would not have gotten data mart. So obviously they have a lot of, we focus on, our vision is we focus 100% on the consumption layer of the user experience. So what we want to be is let the organization build governed data sets. We give you a superior consumption user experience. And obviously that focus is what we are building apps on top of the data. And that's primarily why I think, plus it's just a lot of our employees have been with us for a long time. So we have the institutional knowledge and we are able to learn upon it. Now, obviously we didn't get it right this time. Like we did XVS, we learned a lot of lessons. We did Valcube, we learned a lot of lessons. We did Gantt, we learned a lot of lessons. So every iteration, like the charts is even better because we learned a lot of lesson when doing the matrix. So we are able to take each of the learnings and apply to other product, and we are able to modernize the other one. So it's a probably a combination of the focus and the discipline that we have been able to do. The other thing that we have, where we feel we are going to make a huge difference in the marketplace, is the Inforiver matrix has evolved to a level where you can actually input budgets, you can input forecast, and you can actually do a seamless write back. And I envision hoping that we could even write back to the new data mart that they just released. So people don't have to go to Excel basically, because today proliferation of data, the data silos are created because we don't have the tools to complete the information lifecycle. So you have actuals in Power BI. Imagine you can enter your budgets or forecast or your commentary. You can even do a commenting. And then imagine you can write back to the data mart. That's the vision I have. So then organization can take from the data mart and then build your data warehouse. So you just remove the going to the Excel and then integrating Excel through data flows. So that's the kind of stuff that we are thinking we want to evolve to. No, I'm pretty excited, and thanks for the opportunity. And I wanted to make sure I take all the questions. It's a little bit harder to talk and then look at the questions. I don't know if everybody is on mute. I apologize.
Especially at 3:30 in the morning.
No, I had a good sleep, so I had a pretty good sleep.
It looks cool. I'm curious, would you better go back to those scale settings? I'm just curious what happens if you change the scaling of those spark lines.
Okay, let me just come back.
And I love it. I love seeing a filled spark line as well. So what I don't like about the ones, oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, this is universal. I start at the hierarchical level. It's all pretty self-service. You can change it to a bar, and maybe it's a little more obvious. You can do at an individual level. It's pretty.
I love it because the ones in the line charts in the native Power BI, you don't get a filled option, so your eye really struggles to differentiate one line from the next. They all just blur into a mass of lines with no common baseline. So I really love the fact that we've got now in a matrix, we've got filled spark lines that we can also scale so they're on the same scale. It's great. Well done.
Oh, no, thank you. I would like to, I think Kerry has a question about non-IBCS charts. Obviously, yes, so you can actually use it anyway, IBCS or non-IBCS. That's, I think I try to explain. So let's say I have subcategory and a sales, or maybe even take the month. Maybe we put it here and we put it here like this. Maybe sorry. Let's just keep it simple to do that. Now, we just have to change the theme. Again, when we release it, the Power BI theme will be outside the visual. So you can actually do more like Power BI, and you can actually change it to any line chart, or pretty simple. So now we have the trend line enabled by default. We could come here and we could turn it off or customize it. I saw Kerry ask. So you have the exponential, logarithmic, polynomial, as well as some of the options on the trend lines. Okay.
We've got a question from David asking, where can we sign up to the public beta after 1st of June?
So basically on the Inforiver site, there is going to be a charts page, and it will be there, and I'm happy to share that. And you can just, so it's going to be, you get a PBVis file and you can actually play with it. And so I'm doing a webinar for the US audience, and it would be launched with that, basically.
Fantastic. Would you mind? I really like to sing that drill through. Would you demonstrate that drill through again? We went from the one chart to the small multiples.
Yes,
that's pretty cool.
Yes.
I'm curious
so
how you take this chart and add it to this chart, for instance.
So let's say I have a region and I have a subcategory. Let's say I put it into the, so this is one simplistic way to do it. Now, if I drop it to the group, it automatically creates a small multiple. Now,
Yes.
let's say I have it in my here. Now, I believe with each data point, you get an option where East, it knows, and it can basically tell you the subcategories within the East, contextual till down. This is one option. Now, at a canvas level, we give you expand as trellis, we can actually do. So even though you didn't drop it to the group, so it takes each of the region and then it does by the subcategory. I obviously have a lot of subcategories, but.
Awesome. Love it.
Now on the x-axis, we have a lot of options. You see the display, we have rotated, we have stepped, basically everything that you would expect to a label formatting we give you out of the box. So one of the things that we hope to find out through the beta is what are all the properties that we are still lying here that we have to move to the toolbar. So it's a little bit of a challenge. Unlike in Matrix where we have a full toolbar, here we want to, for the charts, we want to have a slim toolbar. So it's kind of, so one of the things is ours works on a very, very small form factor as well. And this is something that we are trying to perfect, so you can actually use it in a very, very small form factor as well.
Here's a tricky one for you. Can I do the dots with no fill in the middle? I miss being able to set the fill to nothing in dots in Power BI.
I think you can. I just
I hope somebody. What is that I hear about no fill? You can't have no fill. Sorry, yeah, carry on.
No fill.
I'm just thinking.
Next time, that's your challenge for next time.
Yeah, I'm thinking it is possible already. I just don't know how to do it. I might take somebody in my team will respond to it. It's obviously it's possible. But I think how do I put it? It has come quite a bit of ways. But I wanted to thank everybody in the community because one thing we noticed. I will repeat here. If you look at MIM's data mart idea, I don't think so it has crossed 100 votes yet, right? But if you actually give weightage to the people voting to the 100 votes, it should be probably in the top 10. So one of the things that we saw in the Power BI idea place was there was a lot of great ideas, but they just didn't see enough votes to make it to the top. So, and so that is one thing we did very well was we looked at all the votes and we looked at all the comments because some votes obviously had a higher weightage. But if it is just a simply popularity contest, some ideas go up the chain. But that's one of the drawbacks of crowdsourcing the idea place because there were some really, really powerful ideas lying out there, but they just don't have enough votes.
Or they're really tricky to implement based on what they've built before. I mean, that's what you were kind of.
I maybe Phil can answer to that.
Yeah.
I think maybe only when it crosses 100, it probably even gets a discussion. Is my gut feeling. So that's partly the problem is some of the ideas don't even get 40, 50 votes, but they just don't bubble up to have even a meaningful discussion.
And they've also changed, in the old days, anybody could vote. So, and then they changed it so that you had to have an organizational sign-in to vote. And that just kind of slowed down the race. So that anybody was ahead before that change is still ahead now. And it's really, really hard for new ideas to get anywhere near the traction that the old ideas used to get. So it's fantastic to see an organization like yours not just looking at those ideas, but acting on them. That's pretty cool.
No, thank you. Now, I think Daniel is here, and he has also pushed the envelope on the DNUB, and I think what I would like to say is in the last 2 years, the quality of the custom visuals have really matured, and I think the community needs to look beyond the core visuals, because what the community doesn't understand is Power BI as a tool will suffer if you don't love custom visual, because an organization looking at a solution, the solution is available with Power BI plus custom visual. If you do not adopt custom visual, if you nitpick on it, the organization is going to go buy Tableau or Click or other tools. You lose. So I think one of the things is, for every one person who likes a custom visual, or hey, I will do whatever it takes to deliver a solution, versus there is another person, they have a negative experience because they tried a custom visual 5 years, 6 years back, it didn't work. I think my request is be open-minded about custom visuals. Obviously it is fair to expect that it is certified by Microsoft. That is fair, but just don't go into a kind of a negative mindset. And there is a tendency by the organization to try the free custom visual first, and then they form an opinion about the general, custom visuals are bad. Because I think Microsoft has done something wonderfully well to create a good SDK. I can tell you it's a very, very good SDK partner. They invested into it. But the perception around adopting, when you buy an iPhone app, you don't even think twice. You are looking for a solution, you go buy an app. I think Power BI has to evolve to that. So then there is a lot of partner innovations will come around, while an organization, a mature tool like Power BI, can innovate on the platforms. So the partners can innovate on the edges. So the customer ultimately benefits. But that's what I would like to request to the community is, in general, the more you embrace, the more innovations will come. Because if we can do it, somebody else can actually do it. It's a fairly simple.
And it's fair to say you're doing it at a very compelling price point.
I think that's we are fortunate. We are fortunate enough to be able to do it because we are more of an efficient operator and we have the maturity to do it. And we almost see this as kind of like, we want to make a mark in the industry. To us, we are not happy with just making a profit. Can we actually penetrate into every single Power BI customer where they see, hey, I can do this a lot faster. I can get more users to use this. So we are more going for adoption. And I think part of the challenge is the Power BI's $10 has created a kind of a mental ceiling in the customer. So when they look at a third-party solution, they look at it as a percentage of that. So we had to work a lot to figure out how do we break that perception. So it's very hard. So as a partner, it's very, very hard because Power BI itself is a market dominant product. But you have to have some missing capability and a partner invest into it. Now, with the monthly cadence, Power BI has created a feeling, hey, I will deliver it in this month, if not in 6 months. So the customer is willing to wait 6 months for Power BI to deliver. So a partner, commercial vendor partner life is not easy. And I can tell you, if we don't keep innovating, in another 2 years, somebody better, because the SDK itself has matured a lot. So we as an organization have to be on our toes, and it's not easy. And I think it is a good thing. But what we expect is a little bit of love and embracement from the community for custom visuals, which we don't get actually, because that's one thing that the community can change, is because it's very hard to actually make it successful as a custom visual vendor actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard from a user's perspective because there's so many custom visuals on there, and so many of them are probably more trouble than they're worth. So it's really, really hard for the great ones to stand out. And as you pointed out, that the Power BI licensing is so cheap that it sets an arbitrary price point. But really, what you're selling is the ability for people to do stuff, highly salaried people to do stuff much faster than they otherwise could. This is something that I've made the point in my own organization, which is forget about the cost of renting a particular custom visual. Look at the cost of me trying to implement something a tenth as good I'll never get there. It'll take me 3 months. We might as well just go and buy. Look, here's a great solution off the box. So it is. I understand your pain. I understand your pain because I feel it, because I'm trying to get the budget for things like this through my organization. But I really salute what you've done here. I think it's great. And again, I think the price point is fantastic. If people have other questions, or Mim had a question, can you show us the free drill down? I think he may have meant the same thing that I was talking about. I'm not quite sure.
Yes, so I will do it again, because I think Mim, I'm going to send you obviously I'm going to send you the copy.
No, I want just to take screenshot and put on Twitter.
Okay, let me do it again. So this is how do I put it? It's let's start with the region. Let's start with sub-region. Let's start with category. Let's start with subcategory. And I have my actuals, and I have my my plan. And I want to go from US. I can actually, you have two options. Basically, you can actually do a contextual drill down US, and you get the 4 regions in the US, and you can actually go and into the region, and you can actually do a small multiple like this within the product category. This is one option. Or you can, from the outside, you can start off with the small multiple itself. So basically you have US, international broken down, and then you can actually keep going. Use the small multiple concept. Now you can also navigate the pages, something that I didn't show you. You can actually do that. And you have the context right here up at the top as well. So the drill through, drill up, drill across. Again, we are still trying to perfect the user experience. Obviously, Mem, I just asked Matt yesterday Matt Ellington to give me some feedback on the drill down. And our idea is, in the next 30 days, we want to perfect the user experience of the contextual drill down exploratory analysis. Now, the annotations, I didn't do quite a bit. The annotations and the PDF will be available here right now in the toolbar. It will be available as an option. So let's say you like this particular view, you want to annotate and you want to take a PDF, you can actually do that. So that is something that we will be also delivering. Now, excellent. The exploratory is something I really think, with the way the direction Microsoft is going with a lot of the governed data sets and a lot of that, create your own. I don't know if you all notice it, if you come to Power BI and if I do a new report, you see, you pick a published data set. Microsoft has already gone in this direction where they give you a governed data set. So imagine the end user has access to just the Inforiver charts. They can actually build their own interactive analysis, and then they can share it. So it's trying to get out of IT. So make more analysts who are today living in Excel to come out of Excel to do it. So the direction is already set. So that's where we felt confident to make it. The drill down has taken us 6 months to perfect it. There's not been easy to conceive it and do it. Now, I have to say, thanks to Microsoft, they gave us the API. They probably didn't even guess that we were going to do it, but we got the API from.
Fantastic. Well, we're at time. I really appreciate you taking the time to show us this. It's obviously been a labor of love. I'm thrilled to see some stuff that's completely new to me, some stuff I've struggled with in the past, writing with DAX and data modeling that you've made available out of the box. So I want to thank you for taking the time to share it with us and to build the damn thing. And I hope that people on the call pick up the phone and make a call to your salespeople and give it a go, because again, the price point is very compelling, and it will be great to see the community embrace